Right, let's take a closer look at the run-in then and try and predict who will win the title. Merce, you are... Right, we'll start with Arsenal then, who are obviously in action next. You're going to be working on the Saturday night football.
Yeah.
How do you see the game with Fulham going?
Tight, but I see Arsenal winning this football match. Yeah, I see Arsenal. The problem with Arsenal was, and a lot of the games are all going to be about timings, but it kept Fulham busy then beating Villa. If they didn't beat Villa, I think the season would have been over. Now it keeps them busy. You know, if they win this game, they've got a chance of getting European football still. So it's a big game for Fulham as much as it is for Arsenal.
I know you've said before, but you feel like this game specifically on Saturday night is you know, defining.
Oh, I think it's lights out if they don't win. I think it's lights out. They've got to win this game, 6 points clear, and then they've got to go to Everton away, which is a difficult place. And you've still got to just win that to be another 3 points behind. You know, and again, you look at it, and then they play again Brentford. They could go level if they win both games, which is difficult. Then they play first again. They play first again.
So just sticking with the Fulham game then for Arsenal, you think it's going to be tight and edgy, but you do think Arsenal are going to come through that?
100% it'll be edgy. That's one sure thing. It'll be
obviously,
edgy.
but what?
Yeah, you know, I would have
a goal in it.
I would have said, yeah, I think they'll win 2-0. I think it'll be 2-0, but I think it'll be edgy. And you know, before I always think get an early goal takes the edge away, but no. I watched them score an early goal against Newcastle the other day, and it just stayed edgy for the next 80-odd minutes.
What about how Mikel Arteta manages the squad? Because they've obviously got Champions League here as well. We saw at the end of the game at the weekend some of the Arsenal players like on the floor, whether that's through relief or exhaustion or whatever it was. But how does he manage the squad now to do Premier League but also Champions League as well?
I think now it's just no more training. They don't really need to train anymore now. These are all finely tuned athletes. You know, they've done all their work. They just need rest now. Rest, get out on that pitch, give it for 95, 96 minutes for how long it is with injury time. This just doesn't come up. I know it's come along for Arsenal a few times, but they had a difficult start to the season. If they'd have lost 3 of their first 5 games, which they could have, it was a hard start, then you're out the title race virtually. So for me, just give it all. I think the training's the most important thing now. It's how they rest. It's how they rest. No need to be training. But some people say now, the Atletico Madrid's a game in the way. Yeah, you need that game because if it doesn't go well in the league and you drop one game or a point, you're going to be relying on the Champions League. And if they won one of them 2 trophies, it would be phenomenal.
Does it help playing before again? Obviously, I know that they would have played twice, you know, two more games than City by the time City play.
I've been saying for 2-3 months, it all comes down to who plays first with the games. I think it's so different. You know, when you've got to win a football match just to stay there, it's grinding, it takes its toll. And I think if they can go 6 points clear, they've got to do it all over again, Man City. Got to do it all over again. And, you know, you can't keep on going to the well. They have been good, but I thought they were a little bit nervy against Burnley. I thought they were a bit nervy. I thought when they scored early doors, I thought, if they win this 4 or 5, league's over. Because, you know, even if it goes down to goals scored or goals difference. You know, but they didn't. They won 1-0, and I think if Arsenal win this game, beat West Ham, then I think you go with the old run and get the ball out of the net for the last 2 games. Because I think then, if Man City win them 2 games, and then I'm a bit worried.
But we're getting your predictions here, game by game.
Yeah,
so
go on, sorry.
Arsenal win 2-0.
6 points.
Then the Monday night football is Manchester City at Everton. How do you see that going? Because that's not an easy game, and at Hill Dickinson as well. Yeah,
100%. I thought they were unlucky against Liverpool, bang unlucky, and then a last-minute goal again last week against West Ham. I've gone for a draw here.
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
I like Everton. I think Everton are a good team. I think they've got good players. They've got players that can hurt you, you know, and they've got the pace up front as well. I mean, they're not prolific, the 2 up front, whoever plays, but they have pace. They have pace, and they're playing quite a high line at the moment, Man City. Then, you know, I like the players who sit behind there, and then you've got the midfield playing Garden, who I think, you know, when you talk about player of the seasons, I mean, he wouldn't be far off, in my opinion, for what he's done. So, you know, I think this is a difficult game. I'm going to go 1-1. If they did win this game, Man City, and then you start panicking.
OK, but you're going 1-1.
I'm going to go 1-1.
And then City in action again before Arsenal play at home this time to Brentford. Brentford, who we were speaking about just a minute ago, have had a good season.
They've had a great season, but it all depends how they do at Man United. You know, I think it's the Fulham situation. If Fulham would have lost to Villa, the hunger goes out. If they get beat tonight, then all of a sudden, I don't know how hungry they'll be for this game. But for me, I'm just going to go Man City here. I don't think it'll be a 3 and a 4. I don't think there'll be much goal difference between both. Even if they both won, then if they beat Fulham, Arsenal, and they win their next 2 games, I don't think the goal difference will change too much. And I think then we're talking about March Madness, or we could be talking about May Madness.
Yeah.
May Madness we'll be talking about, because then it will come down to who scores the goals.
Yeah.
And that will be an unbelievable finish to the season.
Can you turn it on and off, though, like a tap for Arsenal in terms of... You thought maybe they would turn the screw against Newcastle, but it didn't quite happen.
You know what? Newcastle, good team. They've got good players. I know they are where they are in the league, but they have top players still. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, they had the lad up front. I thought he scared Arsenal in the first minute with his pace. I know he had a good chance. He hit his foot and he missed it. But I thought that was the warning signs of, well, wait there a minute, we better keep it shut here, because if we start bombing forward, they nick a goal. So I think that bit of pace earned Newcastle respect, where we're not just going to bomb forward and try and win 3 or 4. I think just win the games at the moment, then you get down, especially the last 2. I think it's timings, but got to beat Fulham first, who I say are going for Europe, and if they get into Europe, it'll be an amazing feat.
So we're thinking that... From your predictions, that potentially City drop some points here.
Yeah.
For Arsenal, then, after the Fulham game, it's West Ham away at the London Stadium, which could be the trickiest one of their running. Yeah.
Sometimes you want to play the teams that are under pressure as well, who've got something to play for. You don't want someone to turn up. No disrespect to Bournemouth when they turned up the other week at the Emirates. There wasn't too much pressure on them. You know what I mean? They went out and they played. Now there's pressure on Bournemouth because they've got a chance of getting into Europe, and then the pressure tells. So for me, it's about timings. But yeah, this is a massive game. Again, just got to win it. 1-0, and that's enough for me. I don't think there'll be too much. I think these are the 2 games they've got to worry about. If they can win these 2, then it's how many goals, because I think then it could come down to goals if Man City go perfect.
So, from what we're saying, from Arsenal's point of view, then, are you going for 4 wins out of 4?
Yeah, I am. I think defensively, I look at that and I don't think Fulham are great going forward. I don't think they're, prolific. So I don't see them scoring. West Ham would take a point, in my opinion, against Arsenal. So I think they'll sit back and let Arsenal come at them, and surely they will have enough to break them down by the end. And then Burnley and Crystal Palace could be Europa Conference, I think, final winners by then, couldn't they?
Yeah, I think it's after the... I'm not sure when the date is, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, if they play in that, I think that's before, I dread to think what the score will be there. I mean, and rightly so. They've earned the right. People might go, oh, they rest players, why should they rest players? But they've earned the right to do that.
Yeah. We've touched on this a little bit already, but one of your other former clubs then in Villa, how do you see that going for City?
I think that's their easiest game of the season left. No, I do, and it's down to timings.
Yeah,
it's down to timings. They already could have cemented their place in the Champions League. I think that's the Europa final as well.
Yeah, it'd be after that game.
Yeah, so
if Villa are there, obviously.
Yeah, so for me, I think when you look at it, Villa have already had their season, and I think that, they'll be safe. They'll have done what they had to do, and hopefully they'll win the Europa Conference, the Europa League as well, and get in the top 4 or 5. A lot of teams will be sweating on them coming 5th and winning that, and then they get the 6th place. So for me, I think that's their easiest game. Because of timings, it would be their easiest game when it could have been their hardest.
Agree with what Mercer's saying there.
In a way,
follows,
absolutely.
Sort of Villa week in, week out.
That's the. Villa haven't looking ahead to this game on Thursday. I mean, Villa haven't done particularly well in the last few years on games that really matter. When you think of the FA Cup semi-final against Palace, and in the Conference League against Olympiacos in the semi-final, they turned in a poor performance really over those 2 legs. So a lot of scrutiny will be on Villa coming into this game, because they are absolute favourites in the Europa League. But if they get through to the final, that'll be in the week of that City game. So, Emery's legacy will be defined by trophies. He's got to go and win something. So it could be party time for that game.
Yeah, and I thought that was a bad result for Villa at the weekend. I thought they could have put it to bed. If they'd have beat Fulham, they'd have gone 11 points clear, which that would have been good night nurse. But now, they might have to win one more football match. But yeah, that could be party time. That's probably their easiest game, Man City.
So we obviously don't know when these are going to be at the moment, but how do you see Bournemouth and Palace going for City?
Well, Palace will be an absolute give me. An absolute. As I say, they've earned the right, Palace. They've had an amazing season. They could be in the final, and it all depends when that's going to be. But you see against, who was it last week? That Sarr never played. Do you know what I mean? He got rested. Players are getting rested. You know, good players for them. So I don't think they play their best team. The other game for them is Bournemouth. I think Everton and Bournemouth are two difficult football matches. Bournemouth could be going for Europe, and it's a hard place to go, Bournemouth. They're a good football team, really good football team.
So do they pick up 3 points against Bournemouth?
No, I think it'll be a draw. I think they'll draw against Everton and Bournemouth, and I think that'll be it. Arsenal will be champions.
Are you saying that with your chest? Come on, are you saying that, that's what you really think?
My heart's saying it, but my head's not really,
OK.
Yeah.
So this is what we're left with then. This is Paul Merson's predictions. You think that City are going to drop points against Everton.
Yeah.
And you also said Bournemouth, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, and win the other games comfortably.
Ignore that D. That's going to be against the Bournemouth one, isn't it? But this is how you think it's going to end up then, and with Arsenal as champions.
Yeah.
Be exciting though, won't it?
I mean, what everybody wants, and everybody will want, especially the neutrals, if Arsenal beat Fulham and beat West Ham and then they beat Everton and Brentford, then it's going to go down to goals. It's just unbelievable how tight it's got. It's been amazing. But I personally think if Man City went and won it, I think it will be Pep Guardiola's biggest achievement if they went and won it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because you think they started the season, what, they lose 2 of their first 3?
Yeah. And
and I guess 9 points behind at one point.
9 points behind. They could have gone 12 if they'd have beat Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I never give Man City a hope. Not a hope.
But that's bigger than winning Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, they could win the treble. I mean, it's just unbelievable what they do and how he does it. Now, you'd like to think Arteta would have seen a bit of experience of Pep Guardiola the way, because their team seem to get stronger and stronger, so it'd be interesting. But yeah, I think it would have been his biggest feat if he went and won this league.
You would have given some Arsenal fans hope this evening anyway.